It's a bit of a weird shadow behind us, but I don't really know what we can do about that.
Give it horns.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube. Today I am here with Stephen, Awitchespath on Instagram. If you don't already follow him, you should definitely do that, and I'll pop a link down in the description below.
So what we did is we get a lot of questions from the community that follow us, and we decided to reach out and ask what it was people wanted to know about, and we have then popped a selection of the questions in the cauldron, and we're going to talk about them.
Do you want to choose the first one?
Oh, such a responsibility. Okay. Oh, okay. What are your best and worst experiences in the craft and why?
Okay. Best experience? Probably, I think meeting like-minded people is one of the best things. In comparison to Stephen, I'm pretty new to the craft, so I haven't had as much experience practically as he has. So I think it's finding that community and finding friends that like think the same thing, I guess. Yeah. Do you want to do your good?
I don't know. Oh, there's so many good things. It's hard to think. I'm not sure. Like, I think if it put on the spot with the question, I think that the community aspect is really good, because before I came, I've only been on Instagram for a year, so I've only been like in the bigger sense of the community for a year. But I think growing up working with other witches has been really lovely, and you can't recreate that experience. So that was something I'll always treasure. But also just like, I think the best experience is when you are just starting out. So that part of your journey is so exciting and fascinating, and learning new things at the beginning, I don't think you can get that exact same feeling again. It's obviously going to feel good like all the time, but that particular, oh my god, that sense of wonder, when you first pick up a book and you're like, oh, this is me now, this is where I belong. And
it just makes sense. Yeah, like that's great. So my worst experience would probably be when I was like 15, was like the first time I ever sort of heard about anything to do with this kind of stuff. And I'd only heard of Wicca because someone I went to school with, her family was Wicca. And so me and my friend kind of got like real interested and started doing a bit of research, and we were talking about it at school. And then this girl turned around and was like, you can't be a Wicca, you weren't born into it. And we were like, oh, okay.
I've met those people. I've met people like that, yeah.
And like being so young, and at the time that it was stuff that you could find out about, but definitely not as much as you can now. So to be told that by someone that you assumed would know a lot about it, we were just kind of like, oh. And
kind of that you assumed would help you at the same time. Like somebody who would probably be like, you'd think would be super excited and be like, welcome to my world.
Yeah, like let's share this. And then for them to just totally shut you down and make you feel like you can't do it because you weren't born into it was kind of really shitty. So that would probably be my worst one. But obviously as you grow up you kind of realise that no one can really tell you whether you can or can't do something you want to do.
Unless it's being an astronaut and you haven't like trained.
Bitch, I am an astronaut. What are you saying? Don't crush my dreams.
Astronaut. Worst experience? I'm not sure really. This is again, it's quite tricky. Probably when I was really young, and you kind of, when you might not have that sense of like personal responsibility that you do when you're more grown up, and you kind of want magic to be a fix-all, and it's actually a really hard lesson to go through when you realise that actually like 9 times out of 10 the best way to get something done is the muggle way.
Yeah.
And like doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Personing, adulting, rather than magicking.
Yeah. I think that's something that I guess even a lot of more, maybe even experienced witches would still sort of struggle with, because you do want to just use it. Like, if you have this thing at your disposal, I guess you would be like, but why can't I fix it with this? Like, why can't I? But then, as much as it helps, if that's your go-to for everything, firstly, it might not always work. Like, if it's not meant to work, it won't. And secondly, it stops you from learning how to handle other situations too. Like, you know, there's so many anxiety spells and confidence spells and stuff, and that's great. Like, they can be really helpful. However, if you actually need help with something like that, you shouldn't lean on magic for it. Like, you should definitely go and actually sort that out in the, as you said, the muggle way. Like, go and speak to someone, because you might temporarily feel better, but in the long run, it might not actually
and with
help.
magic, you want to be able to help as many people as possible. Like, I know a lot of people, you just want to be able to like wave that stereotypical like magic wand and just fix everything, but it won't do that. But yeah, it's probably not my worst experience with the craft, but that probably isn't a PG rating. But it's probably something that like it answers a lot of questions, because people ask. I know they ask me a lot of time. They ask you a lot of time, like, oh, how can I fix X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
And you tell
can you do this spell for me? Can you do that? Yeah.
It's not the best way forwards, especially when, you know, part of it is like your personal growth and self development. And so if you use the get out of jail free card of magic to do that, then it just wouldn't benefit your life. Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta talk about it, man. You know? Sit down, have a conversation.
Next question? Should we
we'll
do the
next question. The cauldron is actually full. Like, I don't really...
Well, we can show you.
Like...
There's quite a lot of questions in there.
I'll try and get one from the bottom.
Oh.
Oh no. No.
Maybe that one's supposed to come out.
No, I've chosen this one. I felt it. I want to know if I can draw my own deck, tarot deck, that helps with reading or makes it more difficult. So I guess they're asking like if doing your own deck would make reading it easier or if it would make it harder.
Okay. That's a good question.
I thought I was going to go on my tea then.
I did have this question the other day actually from someone.
Yeah.
Asking if they could illustrate their own deck.
It's totally doable.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And I guess it might make it easier for you to read personally because those meanings have come from you. They've more come from your intuition and a mix of maybe traditional meanings.
Yeah.
But for someone else, they might not be. But there are so many new decks being created all the time now, like really beautiful, more modern ones. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason you couldn't. If you love art and if you love tarot, like fucking go for it. Like mesh the two, create something cool. Like you never know, like other people might want it. It could go somewhere, but then you do have to think about writing all of those meanings down in a way that you're actually going to remember, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would definitely be like tricky. I've wanted to make my own deck for like years. And even if you have got the like, I don't know, the artistic skill or, you know, things like that to do it and the means to print it, the issue would be that you really need to know tarot quite intimately before you can then make your own deck. So I feel like it would be a bit tricky in the sense that if you look at like the Rider-Waite deck, which is so rich in symbolism, and a lot of the decks are based on the Rider-Waite, so again they've like layer upon layer of symbolism. You need to understand all of that symbolism in order to try and make that into, you know, something like the Magician, like something, you know, like the Moon, like the major arcana are going to be really the most difficult to convey, I feel, because of the layer upon layer of imagery. And although it's perfectly doable, like it might be easier to start off with like a basic deck, or something like the Rider-Waite, just so you can get to know the cards. If you're finding that you might want to make your own deck to make it easier, then the question is like, are you ready to start tarot? If you are finding it difficult, maybe you haven't found the right deck, maybe it's not the right time for you to start working with tarot. Because once you find the deck that you like vibe with, it then starts to get easier and easier and easier, and you can learn quicker. But I mean, oracle cards, you can make your own oracle cards, even like really simple questions like yes, no, maybe. You know, you could do all of those kind of questions and then put on like numbers. You could put on the months of the year. You could ask your own, like put in all of your own like questions and input in there, and you could make your own deck from scratch like that. I don't see why you couldn't do that. That's nice and simple. That would work really well. I think making a tarot deck is doable. However, I wouldn't do it as a fast track. Like, I wouldn't make my own deck to avoid learning all the hard bits and, like, doing it properly. Like, because then you're not really going to understand. You're just going to understand the thing you've created. But it's a lot bigger than that. It's doable though.
Yeah.
The answer to the question
doable.
is
It's,
yes.
It's doable. If you want to make a deck, make a deck. Do it.
Right, okay.
Cool.
I just saw Shia LaBeouf, like, is that how you say his name? Like,
Do
it!
Shia LaBeouf, yeah.
Do
I think that
it!
is how you say his name, yeah.
Okay, right. Can a Christian be a witch?
Yes, is the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get asked that question quite a lot, actually, especially from people who are in, like, countries where it's super Christian,
Yeah.
like America.
Yeah.
Because
You live in the Bible Belt.
yeah, something like that. We were talking about this the other day at work, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were talking about like mixing witchcraft with like other religious practices.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like where the source, I guess, like if you want to put it in real like the source material for Christianity comes from a similar area of where like the source material for the kind of ancient paganism where like modern witchcraft was based on. And if you look at certain traditions across like Europe, you've got in Italy, for example, they quite seamlessly blend some of the witch traditions there, like the Virgin Mary with the goddess and Jesus as the god.
Yeah, and especially in places where Catholicism is quite prevalent. Prevalent?
Prevalent.
That's the word I was
Prevalent.
going for. Prevalent.
Especially in like you go to certain shops and they've got like the Virgin Mary on like is it a pillar candle? What they call the ones with the glass?
Yeah. They're like the ones you burn for like they're like 7-day candles.
Yeah.
They're in the jar, so you can like just leave them and they're not going to set all your shit on fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also angel work as well. Obviously, like you can you can be a practicing witch or someone who practices high magic and work very very closely with angels. So yeah, it's definitely doable, and it might even be like an easier transition for some people if you've come from a Christian background, because you might still believe in the Christian concept of God but want to do spells and stuff, and there's no reason why you can't, like that God, that version of God can't be your deity, like.
Yeah, and I mean like when you think about it, like the only issue that I can see is probably I would assume with the witch community they would definitely like accept you for that if that's your belief system, because there's so many different like belief systems among the community. And with people being like a growing practice of being eclectic, definitely like things being incorporated from other religions is definitely something that's being more and more recognised.
Yeah.
Especially in like recent years, but is whether or not actually like you would therefore also be, if you want to be a Christian witch, so you're accepted by a devout Christian. I don't think that would happen personally, but
no,
it depends
think,
on like it depends if you know. But I do know people who go to church on Sundays, but they're a practicing witch like the rest of the time. Like, so if that's your expression of faith and it works for you, then why not?
Yeah, definitely. So, next question. How long do you usually meditate before spells/rituals, if you do? Not for very long. Personally, I am not good at meditating. I want to be. I've got a very busy mind and I find it very hard to quiet, so I do try and get a bit in before to get me in the mood, but yeah, I'm not very good at meditating, so like a couple of minutes tops, like just to chill.
I don't, like personally. I think that meditation for me is something a bit separate than the craft. I think meditation is really lovely and I do it quite a lot, but I do it more for like managing my own emotional stress, things like that, day to day, like walking meditations, like just chanting meditations, visualization kind of stuff. But in terms of like magical practice prep, I think that the steps that you go through just to prepare the ritual are getting you mentally into that space. So like you might have to make a herbal blend, an oil blend. You will then like you might anoint the candle. You might blend some incense to burn, like all of that kind of stuff. That's layer upon layer of your intention, building and building and building. Yeah. So it almost tracks you down that path ready for the ritual anyway, or the spell that you're doing. Especially when you have something quite intricate set up, like if you've got multiple candles, if you have to carve something, like I don't tend to get stuff ready. If I have to say like carve a candle or like kind of like write a word into something, I do that all part of the same bubble. I don't get that ready a few days before. I make sure those steps are starting so that they're almost like my like spell prep But that, in a sense, I guess you could consider it a meditation, but I
Form of
wouldn't.
meditation. Well, yeah, like if it gets you into that state of mind, then you could. It depends, because there are like different forms of meditation as well, aren't there? So like a meditation for different purposes. So maybe some people would consider that meditation, but like if you don't, then I guess not.
I think that I like a lot of repetition when I'm doing my own practices. So I like to repeat things multiple times and build up that feeling. And that, you know, some people could consider that like meditation, but
like mantra meditation.
But I would kind of think about it as just building on my intention and building my intention. The more I chant the same thing, even if it's something super simple, which is usually works best if you're chanting like the same 2 sentences or the same few words.
Yeah.
That then gets your mind and your spirit in that. This is what I'm doing, 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 and it helps to flush out everything like around that's external.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching part 1 of our Q&A. We're probably going to have maybe 1 or 2 other videos for the rest of the questions, so tune in soon for those.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and there was just so many good questions, we thought we'd have to split it over a few videos.
Yeah, else you'd be sat here for hours, like a really long time.
Alright.
Alright.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.